The more challenging the environment is to growing food, the more that can interact with limitations like time, budget, accessibility, disability, anything else you got going on. Hello, and welcome back to Disabled Farm School. I'm Rachel, and I am on the terrace. Juniper the dog and I love the terrace because it is currently the only flat place in the entire yard, which is a very steep hill. It's really hard to capture on film, but I'll see if I can show you. So this terrace, oh my goodness. Look, if you're new here, I am a sustainable designer and ecological and edible garden educator, relearning to garden within the new exciting creative parameters and limitations of changing and increasing disability and chronic illness. There's a chance you've seen the terrace before. Basically, the terrace is like 85% done. A year or so ago, I spent many days digging, raking, moving soil and rocks and sticks and more rocks and weird random stuff that was buried here. So I dug out what is basically a flat, round patio area with a sort of ditch around it, and then a raised bed after that, and then a sloping herb bed after that. And I built out that raised bed and herb bed with a lot of sticks and brush under the soil, because living on a hill, gardening on a hill, especially in a place with a rainy season, means managing drainage. One of the things that we think about in terms of sustainable long-term gardening, especially in a fire and flood ecosystem, is slowing down that water, spreading it out in the ground, and sinking it into the soil. So we're not actually trying to get it off site. We're trying to manage it on site in a way that doesn't cause erosion, flooding, damage to structures, people, plants, animals. So this terrace is also a rain catchment system. It has a raised circle in the middle that is then surrounded by an almost level ditch, circular ditch, that has stones in it so it won't fill in with soil when rain comes down the hill behind me. And the idea is that rain sheets down the hill behind me, goes into that ditch, which is just slightly slanted towards the downhill side of the circular ditch. It's basically a moat, and moves through it, through the rocks, which don't move as easily as small soil particles, and then waters the garden bed on the downhill side. This slows the water down, right? It's sheeting down the hill, it hits a level area, it spreads out, it slows down. It uses it to water my plants and help keep them alive. And it's a way to manage erosion on the hill while still coming up with a flat place to sit, to lay down, to rest, which if you have a chronic illness, especially if you have POTS, or really anything that affects your energy or ability to be upright, having somewhere to rest, to be horizontal, like the hammock, or even I lay on the ground on this terrace sometimes, is proving to be key. This terrace is the best decision I've ever made in this garden, and it's not done. The trick is, it's been not done for like a year. And in that time, soil has eroded back in off of the hill and filled in some of the moat and eroded out of some of the garden beds. So that's been useful because now I've seen a lot of what happens and what kinds of processes I'm working with here. And also, I want to finish it. The idea is actually that the moat then gets built back up to the same level as the higher raised sort of circular patio in the center. The whole thing gets covered with cardboard to block weed seeds, and then mulch and my outdoor rug. And then that makes it a wider terrace that I can put chairs on to actually have a gathering space. To do that is going to require moving everything off the terrace and getting the dog to stop laying down right in front of me wherever I try to work. That's sort of the really biggest barrier, I would say. Like I said, we both love the terrace. Downhill garden bed. Behind this is the downhill side of the ditch, sort of curving around. We would call this a swale in permaculture. And it goes all the way around. A little cart right there is sitting in it. Here's Juniper scratching herself all through here. Oh, she's going, thank you, Junie, for your help. Vanna here. All of this is the ditch, and then there's Juniper going up the hill behind it, and the hill continues up. I'm feeling pretty okay today in the range of how I can feel. So I think this is a good day to get everything cleared off and assess the situation. I'm going to redig the moat, the swale. Uh-oh. The brain fog can't already be setting in. It's not even noon. Probably putting down cardboard first, then the rocks, then cardboard again, then mulch, and then putting everything back in place and planting out the hill behind me. I don't know if that's all happening this week because the reality is I cannot plan predictably with the body that I have. And also projects like this always have unpredictable elements, but I will be here getting started while the sun is out before the rain comes back. And Juniper will be here pretty much just eating grass. So we've got both things covered. I'm trying to use the sourdough, bread dough that I have rising, to create time markers to check in with myself and see if my heart rate is doing okay, if it's too high from the POTS. Usually with activity where I'm moving around, my heart rate is okay. It's actually just when I'm standing around that my blood pools in my feet, but we'll see. And to make sure I take breaks. So there is the alarm right now. Wow, how did it know? I didn't check it before I started filming this clip. So that is the alarm to go stretch the dough, and then I'm going to lay down for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to come back and work some more. I love this model of like timed increments rather than a to-do list. 20 minutes of activity, 10 minutes of rest, or 30 minutes of activity, 5 minutes of rest. And for me, the parameter for rest is I have to be horizontal and not doing anything strenuous with my brain. That has allowed me access to so much more gardening because it allows me to pace. So the idea of this terrace is, like with all these flat spaces, putting in as many spots to get horizontal for pacing purposes as possible. And it's a bonus when you're looking up into a tree and you can't see all the projects you're in the middle of, because then your brain can calm down a little bit too. All that said, I'm gonna go stretch the dough and lay down. Those chickens laughing at you. How dare they? Oh no, somebody's here. Go protect them. Is it? Who could it be? Somebody's fingerprints are all over these. Is that you, Juniper? All right, bread dough has been stretched, rest has been rested, pajamas have been changed into work clothes, sun protection is on. Let's do this. So predictably, I forgot a couple of things. One is this needs to be weeded. And the other is, I don't know if you can see behind me, this irrigation line that was buried, that I unburied when I dug the terrace. It's a tripping hazard. So I need to cut it, place 2 connectors and an extender piece in it so that I can rebury it, because even though it shouldn't really be buried, it goes all the way to the olive trees up the hill, which aren't even in my yard. So I need it to be protected. Honestly, I'm really happy with pulling up the rug and seeing how well the sheet mulch that I had here, the cardboard and straw, has done at preventing weed growth under the rug. I think that bodes well. The alarm just went off for the bread. I had a good little rest here, and I think it's lunchtime. Okay, just one more thing I wanted to say. Even I have a very specific physical therapy and strength training routine. Even I have to be really careful with how I lift things and move things around in the garden, and I have to plan to recover after this kind of thing. And I don't have like a particular injury other than I have some issues with my neck, but I have generally pretty stretchy joints. So I just wanted to say, like, if you see me doing things here that look like, wow, that looks very not disabled. First of all, disability can look like anything on any day. Second of all, I only share my projects really here. I don't share my laying in bed for 6 days with a flare, unable to do anything. But thirdly, the point of this is, like, how do we access as much of these movements as we can and want to, given our parameters. So I just like to share that, like, part of how I access, like, squatting and picking up a lot of stuff is that I do squats. Like, I train squats with my physical therapist. There is a lot of functional fitness and strength training fitness stuff that actually is the motions of farming. There's literally something called a farmer's carry, and a lot of that kind of training isn't accessible to a lot of us. It wasn't for me until I did a ton of much milder physical therapy for a long time, which was only accessible to me because I could afford it, which is a huge privilege and not accessible to most people. So if you're looking at me doing things that you can't do right now and that's bringing stuff up for you, I just want to say, like, I totally get it. And you, like, please know that that takes an incredible amount of training, preparation, and recovery for me to be able to do, and it's okay if you can't do it. There are so many different adaptations for so many different bodies. And also, if I was trying to do this last week, like, my heart rate would have been all over the place and I might have passed out. So It just totally depends on where you are in your own accessibility needs, and that's part of the point of this whole channel. And I will update you tomorrow if I feel like I overdid it, because I think that's important. My back is like sore, but I did do deadlifts yesterday, so it might just be like muscle soreness. That's a weird thing about training your back that I didn't know, is like it gets sore like any other muscle that you're training, and it's kind of hard for me to distinguish that from having pulled my back, and it really just is about like, do I recover from it or does it get worse? I don't know. Learning the brain-body connection is wild. Anyway, lunchtime. Nikki joined me. I hope you can see her. I'm fully staring into the sun. I don't know what's happening. Yeah. Oh, we love the terrace. Yeah. Oh. You want some lunch? You want some lunch? She doesn't know what that means because she only eats breakfast and dinner. Because she's a dog. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's all dug out. Weeded. I think it's about the right. Yeah, we hear you. Doing really good with my heart rate today, which makes me feel excited. I think it's always good gravy. It's always really cool to see the results of like really slow rehab, like over years. There is no full recovery from at least a couple of the conditions that I have. They are permanent. But it's cool to see getting access to digging back. I couldn't dig for a long time. I'm just so much happier when I'm out here. And I also seem to be way less symptomatic if I can get to the point where I can do this without overdoing it. So we'll see how the rest of the week goes. I think I'm gonna get some cardboard in there before all the soil rolls back into the ditch, and we'll feed the weeds to the chickens and then see what time it is. Sheet mulching is done. I feel really good about how far I got, and I feel really good about stopping now. Morning. It's the next day. As predicted, I'm pretty fatigued today and I'm sore. It feels like the good kind of sore, I think. Actually, I don't know if I'm just tired from working hard or if I'm actually having a chronic fatigue crash, but either way, for anyone, it's good to take recovery days when you do intense physical activity, especially stuff you haven't done in a long time. So I'm trying to figure out what the balance of that is with not losing momentum on the project. I feel pretty good. I'm just really tired, and I'm also really clumsy. And usually that's a sign that I shouldn't do anything super strenuous, not because I can't, but because I'm way more likely to injure myself and not notice that I've like overstretched a joint or, you know, that kind of thing, or just run into something. I'm setting up a little rock harvesting station. I'm going to do some mostly seated work. I think that's a good way to slow down, pay attention to recovery, not overexert, and then crash today. And also, a lot of the stuff I did yesterday is the kind of stuff that's often not accessible to folks. Like, you know, if you've been following this channel at all, you know that I'm just exploring my accessibility journal. Journal? How? It's not even, it's like mid-morning and the verbal aphasia has started to set in. What do I mean? Journey. I mean journey. But everyone's looks different, and mine looks different on different days. So there's no such thing as like a universally accessible setup for gardening. It's more about like the ways we problem solve and get creative and support each other. This is my sifting screen that I made, and I'm going to sift soil and rocks in the back patio area here against the house because it needs to be dug out anyway. And the soil will then become potting soil eventually. It'll get mixed with probably some straw and some worm castings and become potting soil for seedlings. And the rocks are going to go in our ditch on the terrace, or our moat, our swale around the terrace. Basically, nothing else can happen with the terrace until that thing, that swale, that moat is full of rocks to the same level as the center of the patio. So this is one of those things that I could try to do quickly, and I would hurt myself, and then I would burn out on my very limited energy, and then I wouldn't finish the project. We get it, brain fog, we get it. It's cute. It's not cute. Harvest some rocks. You know, a classic garden harvest, rocks. Often one of the easiest things for farmers and gardeners to find in their fields. Vegetables take a little more work. Rocks, almost always there. Not always, but almost always. Mushroom mug here so I have a very bad habit of getting an immense amount of soil in my coffee. Why I love the terrace. Okay, here's the other view. This is the view from laying on the ground. Like just... Good morning. It is a different day. We are still moving rocks. Let's move some more rocks. Pacing, am I right? Juniper's just having a little morning snack. Searching for only the tenderest leaves of grass. Gorgeous morning, really. Great morning for moving rocks. Wouldn't you say? Yes, if you're wondering, I did in fact destroy my original bucket by dropping rocks in it too hard. I try to be gentle with my things, and often I fail. Well, it's coming along, but slowly. We need way more rocks. I'm gonna be honest, this is where I tend to stall out, where it's like I can't power through and just do a bunch of it. I mean, I could. I'm strong enough, but because of the way it would affect my conditions, then I would have repercussions for days or weeks. So I have to do it slowly, a little bit at a time. It's very boring in that you don't see a lot of progress. I don't see a lot of progress very quickly, and it's the same activity over and over again, which is usually the kind of thing I would want to do with other people, but I don't know if I'm prepared to ask my friends to just carry rocks up and down a hill. But you should. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, eventually this terrace will be done. It might not be this week. This is the reality. This is what it actually takes. When you have parameters, you just keep doing the boring parts very slowly and don't give up on them. And so, I don't know, thanks for helping me not give up on the boring part by giving me someone to talk to about it. What are you doing in life that is a similar activity? Let me know in the comments. Maybe we can help each other finish it without overdoing it. Like, keep pacing, but maintain momentum, even if the momentum is so slow that it doesn't feel like momentum. Yeah. Wow, I look dead. What is with this lighting? Wow. Good morning, friends. So, it's been about 3.5 weeks of this project of the terrace, and I'm actually really proud that I haven't finished. I'm trying really hard to frame it that way because that means it doesn't mean, it just, what am I trying to say? I'm sleepy. The reason I haven't finished is because I've been pacing myself, and it's been pouring rain, and I had a week-long flare in there, which is pretty typical for me about every 3 weeks. They're getting more predictable, which is cool, but it wasn't caused by overdoing it on this project. I have yet, knock on wood, to injure myself on this project, and I can see my way to the finish line. I'm so tempted to like marathon it for a day, and that's what would cause a flare or an injury. I'll show you how far I got. It's gonna look pretty similar to the last time you saw it. And then I have so much footage, honestly, that this is gonna have to be a 2-part video. So you're watching part 1. You probably know that already, spoiler alert. And the sun is out today, so I did more moving of the rocks. There's a lot of rock moving happening. I'm truly moving rocks up a hill over and over again, trying to sort of lean into whatever the meditative, peaceful aspect of the Sisyphus story is, which I think about a lot with chronic illness. Like, wake up and you're at the bottom of the hill with the boulder on top of you, and you push it to the top of the hill and then it rolls back down on you. You know, like, that is, I think, pretty relatable for a lot of folks with chronic conditions. Actually moving rocks up the hill, so much more fun. I'm having a grand old time. I get to apply all of these strength training things that I've been doing to literally squatting, picking things up, carrying buckets. There's cardio because you're going up the hill. I can do those things because I've been doing my POTS protocol training and my physical therapy for my hypermobility and my, just my neck and all these things. I don't know. It's really cool. It is so hard not to take that and run with it and overdo it and cause horrible repercussions or experience horrible repercussions. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stop. Even though I really want to finish this for the video, I'm going to stop. I'm stopping. How many times do I have to say it to the camera before it becomes true? I think the takeaway for me is like, I really have to be willing to share my actual process with y'all and not try to do this thing that other YouTubers get to do where they finish a project every video. That's not the reality of disability and chronic illness for me. Also, that is so much footage, and then I don't have enough like energy to both do the project and edit the video if I have hours and hours of footage. I'll show you where the terrace is at and say goodbye until next time. So hang out, subscribe if you haven't, because obviously you want to see the end of the terrace build. I mean, what more are you looking forward to? I hope other things, but if not, use this to look forward to. As always, I attempt to post every Friday. Last week, nope, didn't make it. I'll see you next time here on Disabled Farm School, where gardening is for everybody, and we're just trying to figure out how together.